You're listening to the Fence Builder Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. In this episode, we are going to talk about building the perfect website and landing pages for your service business. So this is one of those things that I don't want to get too technical into the weeds, but I do want to provide enough information so that you can either instruct your marketing agency or your website developer to make your website better so that it converts. And here's the problem. There are so many options for websites. What do you do? And what I've found is that a lot of times businesses will spend a lot of money on a website and they end up not getting any traffic. Or if they have some traffic, their website isn't converting. And so more than likely, if you are listening to this podcast today, your website is probably 50% of listeners is built on a platform called WordPress. WordPress is a open source, built in PHP, hosted on numerous servers, Linux servers everywhere. And WordPress is probably the platform your website is built on if you hired a freelancer to do that, or if you have an overseas company do that. And so overall, it is a good product if it's built out the right way. But the problem with WordPress is that it can end up having a lot of security issues. So WordPress is constantly in development. And if you do not keep it updated, it can get hacked very easily. And it has a lot of security flaws with that. It also can look bad really fast if something gets updated and it isn't like a plugin gets updated and it can make your site not work. So if you have a WordPress site, you probably know what I'm talking about, that when it got delivered, it looked great. But then a year later, like it's just not the same. It looks weird. There's broken things everywhere. And so a lot of people build sites on WordPress because it's cheap to do. So that may be where some of you guys are at. Another group of people that are out here, you may be the DIY people, and maybe you built your website on Squarespace, maybe on GoDaddy, maybe on Wix. If you have built your website yourself and you are not a designer, it probably sucks. And I'm not saying that to hurt your feelings. I'm just being honest. It looks amateurish. And so both of these two website setups to start with, if you have a WordPress site that's got security issues or broken things on it, okay, that's going to make you look like an amateur. It's going to look like a broken website. And if you have built your site yourself and it looks, if only your friends tell you it looks nice, then it probably sucks. And if your web presence, your branding online, as soon as they hit your website, doesn't make you look professional, you can still look like a family-based business, but if it doesn't look professional enough, you've already lost credibility and it's not going to convert. And there's another group of you out here, and I'll bring this up. There's some of you that have amazingly beautiful websites that look great on mobile. They look great on desktop. But the problem is they are so pretty that they don't have the conversion metrics to get them to convert, such as chat or buttons to call or click to call. They don't have the forms in the right place to get you to generate that lead. So the goal of today's episode is to help you understand a good platform that you could use. And then I'm also going to talk about why I like that platform and why we use it this way. So we use a platform called Duda. and it's basically built for marketing agencies. Duda is a company based in California. And again, I'm sharing with you what I know. I don't get anything out of this, but I like Duda, and we use Duda for clients' websites because they come with a mobile first design. And so more than all of your traffic and leads are going to come from someone looking for on a mobile device. They're going to be on their iPhone or Android device, and they're going to be coming over to your website from an ad. And if your site doesn't look good on mobile, you're done. And so, one reason I like Duda is that it comes with a mobile first design. And basically, your developer, your designer can make sure it looks great on mobile. The other reason that I really like this platform called Duda is it's fast. And a big part of SEO, which we'll talk about later, is the code needs to be fast. So this is a very, very fast development platform. It's hosted on Amazon, and you can customize the JavaScript and the CSS. Now, you may not know what that is, but your developer does. And pretty much you can customize the entire site to anything that you want, and it looks really, really good. So some of your developers that are coding on WordPress, they really aren't designers. They really don't know CSS or JavaScript. They're not good at it, but you could build a website in WordPress or on Squarespace, GoDaddy through a template, and it looked decent, but it's not going to be customizable. Or maybe if they can't customize it because of their skill set. With Duda, it comes with great templates, but it also has the ability to customize the code and the CSS, which is a big thing if you're trying to increase conversions. The number one reason why, if you're on WordPress and you're thinking about switching over to something new, I would consider Duda, is that Duda is secure and it has never been hacked. So it's kind of like why Windows computers used to get a lot of viruses, if you're old enough to remember this. Not so much anymore, but people made viruses for Windows because they were most widely used. And Macs were not as used as Windows. And so when people were making viruses, they would just say, hey, let's make it for where more people are hanging out. And with WordPress, because there's so many sites hosted on WordPress and there's all these developers and these plugins, you can develop a plugin, release it for free, and people can download it within a number of hours. But the problem is that code, that snippet of this plugin or this add-on may have vulnerabilities in it. And guess what? It hacks your site. And they'll use it to hack your site, and then your site is blacklisted in Google. And then you have to go through this process to show that the virus has been removed. It can send out email. It can really ruin your lead generation. And so I don't like WordPress for that reason. And obviously we use WordPress for years, so I know it very, very well. And there's some perks to it, but security is a huge, huge burden for that. Duda also has a blog where you can create a template that is SEO friendly. And then you can upload content. And we're going to talk more about that in content marketing later in our training. But that is a big reason as well why we use this platform called Duda. Now, for you, you would just have a regular account. I think it's maybe $30 a month. But we have an agency account, which allows us to take what we know works in lead generation on a website and use those templates, use the tracking code, and deploy sites faster. They're still custom colors, custom brand, custom font, all of that, but we're using a formula that we know works. And so I'm going to go through that formula for you. And so the question you may have is, how do I get my website to convert? And so the first thing I want to tell you is that your copy matters. You have to have your unique selling points, your USP, why people should do business with you front and center on your website. And so one of the things we do is we try to stand out right on the homepage of every single of our clients' websites, saying, here's what we're better. longer warranty. I always encourage people to screen and drug test their um, contractors, um, just to make the people feel safe. If they have the better warranty, obviously, if their reviews are strong, we want to put all of the things out there that we are better at than our competitors. And so we lay that out there. So you want to have your USP out there as people are going to read that. There's other things like walk on video, which isn't used as much anymore, but is very, very powerful. You can see that on grow.inc, a guy down at the corner saying, hey, check out our free, resources. That's walk on video. Walk on video is very, very helpful because they can also share your unique selling point. But what you need to do is create landing pages based on your services. So let's give you just an example of aluminum contractor, and think of your business. Your service business is going to be different, but I'll just give you this example. So maybe you do sunrooms, and maybe you do screen rooms, and let's say you also do carports. There's obviously different things. If you are a plumber, you may do kitchens and baths, you may do commercial. If you're a flooring contractor, you may do carpet, floor, tile. Obviously, there's a lot of different things. But basically, you want to take down your service offerings and separate those into categories. Because with pay-per-click marketing, you don't know this yet, and we haven't talked about this, but you are judged on how much you pay per click, not based on everything's fair. You are judged and charged based on how good your ad is, how good the keyword relates to the ad, and then lastly, the content of the landing page. So if you are driving all of your Google traffic to your homepage, you are paying more per click than everybody else. And so the best thing to do is, if you're going to advertise, in which if you were working with us, we would say, hey, let's drive traffic to each of your service pages. We'll make dedicated service pages for these. And then on that service page, we want to have our USPs, but on front and center at the top on the right-hand side, we want to have a request a quote form. So let's say you have 6 different types of services for your business, right? There's so many different options here, but let's say you have these 6 different, services, USPs, welcome message, and then you also want to have an opt-in form, a request a quote form. Now, if you're giving away something free, you may want to put that on that page too. That opens in a pop-up or something like that. But you want to have that quote form. And remember, that quote form is going to have some hidden fields on it. And in those hidden fields, it may be, this is fields that the user can't see. So they're filling out the form. And then when they click request quote, you'll get passed on. Hey, these people came over from Facebook. They came over from Google. This was a campaign they were on. And so most of the time, people don't want to go through a bunch of pages if they are looking for a quote online. And so you want to give them a quick intro. The site has to look super clean and professional, match your colors, match your fonts, and then give them a chance to request a quote. So when we do marketing, on building new websites for this, for service businesses, every single page has a quote request on there. That is a service business. That is a service page. I'm sorry. So let's give you an example, some other pages that may be on a site. So you got your home. All right. We usually do services. So there'll be a list of all services. And then each from that service page, it will break off to all the different service pages. That's where we drive SEO traffic to. That's where we drive pay-per-click traffic to. Those pages are optimized, and those pages get the most traffic. From there, people in the menu will click on to About Us. We always have a page that says recent jobs or projects. And so your best jobs, you take a lot of pictures of those, you put those on there. We usually do a page called Our Reviews. And so if a company doesn't have good reviews, that's something we work on right away to help them get more reviews and improve their percentage. And by the way, we'll talk about this later, but you need to be above 4.7 in reviews, else your business is really going to struggle. with online marketing. So we'll work on getting their reviews up. And then what we do is we create a page that's got all of their positive reviews on it. And then lastly, there's usually a quote page. So built into the website, besides that, are blogs and lots of content pieces and things like that we'll talk about as we go in through SEO. But I will tell you, you should have a website that is super professional. It doesn't have to be modern and edgy like that, but it needs to be clean, have some white space, and be free of errors or bad design. So sometimes, depending on the demographics of where we're marketing, they want to look more like a family based business. And I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that if you're a service business. If you make your brand and your design look so modern that and don't put content or forms on there or your phone number on there, what ends up happening, it's a beautiful website, but it doesn't convert. And so I suggest that you put your phone number on your header at the top, footer at the bottom. You also have like click to call buttons so that they can click to call on mobile. You want it to be as easy as possible for people to click and to call you. They should never be hunting for your phone number. They should never be like, how do I request a quote? If you are not, if that's the case, you are not optimizing your website to generate leads, and it's going to struggle. So once you have your website built and created, and let me just talk to you people first that have websites that exist. A lot of times you have your copy that you've created and all that can all be migrated to a new website. It's very, very easy. If you are already on WordPress and you love it and you want to stay there, you could still do this in WordPress. I just was telling you what we use because of the security and the speed and the optimization. But if you're already on a platform and you like it and it can do all these things, that's probably okay. The only one I see that I think is comparable is Squarespace. It's still not as good as Duda, but it does have some good features as well. But once you have your site set up and all of that done, and maybe you don't want to change, what I'll tell you is you can add forms to pages. You should be able to. You could add phone numbers. You could really work on the design for the mobile. And if you've worked on your unique selling points and why your company is better, obviously you can put in your USPs in the copy. So it's not hard to do that. But if you are going to build a brand new website, I would definitely start with the right plan and the right platform. So once a site is ready for launch, that's when you would put in your tracking scripts. So once a site is done, you would go and get your call rail tracking script, and then it would change the phone number. You'd install Google Analytics, anything that you need to install from Google ads or Bing ads, that would all go into their Facebook pixels. These are tracking pixels that you would want to use for remarketing. Any video that's going to play and any chat script. And so once the site is done, we put it in there. We like to use chat scripts on our clients' websites that go to specific pages that have the owner's face on them. It works really, really good. But you take all of these things together, and this is building a platform. So step number 2 in our marketing process is platforms and offers. Your website is a huge, super important platform, and it really is where people are determining if they are going to request a quote from your business or not. One thing that you may not realize, and you should if you don't already, is that before someone calls you, they're looking at your website. Before somebody picks up the phone, they've already read half a dozen reviews or more. People decide, especially if you're already getting business that is from like referrals, people that are outside of your referral base or aren't friends and family with your customers, if they're looking for new businesses to work with, they're starting on a Google search, they're clicking on reviews, they're looking at your pictures, they're looking at your website, and they're deciding, hey, do I want to do business with this company? And yeah, 20 years ago, you didn't need a good website, even maybe 12 years ago. But your website now has to be with excellence. And it doesn't have to, like, again, it doesn't have to be modern to be excellent. Do your colors match your brand, right? Do the fonts match everywhere? Is the phone number visible? Is there some compelling copy there? Is there forms on every page? And so, in most cases, when we meet with a new service business, their website is not up to snuff, and it's part of the redevelopment package. And what you can do in your agency or whoever you're working with should be able to do this. They should be able to develop a new website for you. Why your old one is live, and then on one day you switch it over and you have a new website that's got forms and everything working on it. So it's not hard to do if someone knows what they're doing. So a couple of other tips as we close out this episode or this training. Less is more, and I would not worry about all the bells and whistles. I would try to make it clean, user friendly, make sure that people know what the next step is. Pick a software or technology that's fast, and make sure you have clear calls to action. A couple of questions that I get often about website development. Should I switch over my website if it isn't generating leads? Yes, absolutely. But there's more than just getting leads that matter. So if you have a website that has a good design, but it's not generating leads, then you got to change up not maybe the design, but you got to add content. It's the copy and the forms and where those are at. If your website isn't generating leads, you got to switch. You got to mix things up. If you are generating leads, though, then sometimes it's a good reason just to stay with the design that you have. Depends on the conversion rate. Another question, when people are redoing their website, they want to know, should I upgrade my brand colors? Maybe. Colors aren't the most important thing. I think you need to realize you may want to update your logo and do a total rebrand, but that's a lot of money. Think about this, like most service businesses, we don't rebrand. We take what they have and make it look nicer. Like we can touch up the logo, but you probably have your logo on your vehicle and your cards. And so unless you're redoing all of that, I wouldn't redo your logo. Your logo in the scheme of things, unless it's terrible, it's not going to make that big of a difference. Having a healthy website with a clear offer, your unique selling points, quote requests, everything on there, that's going to make the bigger difference. A last question is, should I hire a designer to build my website? And designers are cheaper, but my suggestion is don't hire a designer. Hire someone that does marketing, that knows copy, that can put the form on the page, that can measure it. That's going to give you the most return on investment. And sometimes marketers are more expensive, sometimes not the case. But if you hire a designer, I would just say, give them a clear plan of what you want, which is what hopefully it's what you're telling them, what I laid out here for you, because that's what works, guys. It generates leads like crazy. So in our next episode, we are going to talk about leads and how to convert more of these leads that you get into customers. And we're going to be talking about creating the ultimate welcome package. And so we've talked about your website and this quote thing on your website, and you've got platforms, when people call in so that they can add them to your database. We'll talk about that a little bit. But this ultimate welcome package, in our next episode, we're going to talk about what to give them so that they immediately feel thankful and they want to do business with you. As we close out today's training, I hope that you found it helpful for some of the things that really work in building an amazing website. If you want to learn more about all the things that we're talking about here, you can pick up a copy of our 4-step marketing blueprint, and it will basically give you 100 pages of the exact things that you need to do to grow your service business. Besides that, there is a DIY marketing plan checklist. So if you're doing things on your own, you'll find that very, very helpful. And then we have a checklist of all of our available tools. It's available on our website at grow.inc/start. It's all free, no strings attached. And we're not going to call you and say, hey, please do business with us or anything like that. It's just our way of giving back to entrepreneurs and educating people about what we do. So we'd love for you to pick up a copy. Again, that's at grow.inc/start. Have an amazing day, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.